Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Hawaii Realtors Virtual Connect webinar entitled Digital Mastermind featuring Andrew Mancheril. Before we bring Andrew up, I'd like to mention a few events that are coming up in the month of March. And just FYI, I just want to let you know that we will be recording this session and that we will be sending the recording out with Andrew's PowerPoint in case you needed that. And probably maybe this afternoon if we can get it all together and put in a nice package for you, and we'll send it out to you. Our upcoming events for March, we've got a lot happening. RRC Hawaii will be putting an interactive workshop where you can find out how to earn the CRS or the Certified Residential Specialist designation. This is scheduled actually to this afternoon. So if you want to get in on that, Courtney's going to drop the chat in the chat, the registration for that. If you've ever wanted to earn the CRS, only 3% of the nation realtors have the CRS designation, so you can set yourself apart from the rest by getting that designation. And it is free. And what I hear is that if you are there, you would actually be entered to have a chance to win a class. So that is totally worth your time. So if you want to join in on that, just go ahead and register for that. And speaking of the first CRS class, this one is scheduled for March 25 and 26, 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Zoom, and is entitled Digital Marketing, Establishing a Social Media Brand. This class is good for 8 elective CE credits and 8 CRS credits. The course features Monica Neubauer, who we're excited to have because this is her first time teaching for us in Hawaii, and Courtney is going to drop that link in there for you to register for that. Our next event is coming for our PBs and BICs. There'll be an informative Legal Kokua Live webinar on March 28th featuring Patrick O'Neill, the chairman of the HER Standard Forms Committee, and Jason Corta, our staff attorney. They will be going through the forms that is listed on the slide, and these forms will be actually released on May 1st. So this is definitely a do not miss event, and the registration link will be dropped into the chat. Thank you, Courtney. Just a reminder that before I introduce our speaker today, at the close of our Zoom, we will have an evaluation pop up. Please take a few minutes to just evaluate our event today. We like to know how you feel. We also would like to know if you have any topics in mind that you want us to have future webinars on. So please take a minute to do that. This master training is hosted by Andrew Mancheril, the CEO of Digital World Connections, a marketing firm based in New York that helps brands in the real estate, insurance, and mortgage industries grow online. With over 50 years of experience as an organization, not Andrew, as an organization, Andrew has trained hundreds of real estate professionals in growing their digital presence. Please join me in welcoming Andrew Mancheril. Andrew.
Yes, thank you, Crystal, for the introduction. I'm excited to talk about what we call is the most important thing in any business. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, kind of put up a presentation, and then we'll kind of break down step by step a lot of information. So just give me 1 second here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm hoping you guys can see it. It shows on my end, and I'll get right to it. Now, I'm assuming if there's anyone has any questions, I think Crystal might let me know. I can't see the chat box right now, so if there's any questions, feel free to drop anything in the chat box. I will kind of address it before we get into further points. But the purpose of this class is to kind of break down the most common mistakes that I see when it comes to digital marketing, when it comes to the real estate industry. And also talking about some other aspects like what should your marketing mentality be? What should your mindset look like when it comes to marketing, right? What are some of the most common mindset limitations people put on themselves when it comes to marketing? So we'll kind of explore all of these different fields on a pretty in-depth level. And as Crystal mentioned, after this, I will send you guys this exact presentation deck. And along with that, I'll send you an ebook that kind of covers a lot of important concepts as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. You guys already know who I am, so I'm just going to skip over this section right here. Digital World Connections, partner with Click as well. We've been in marketing for quite a while, and we focus on these three industries pretty heavily. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what is the only benefit of doing this. Let's set the mind straight. The only reason why I would do it or you guys should be doing it is because we want more revenue. Okay. Now, people say it's because of branding, awareness, consistency. Those are all ways we can get there. But at the end of the day, the intention is only one, which is to make more money. Now, that might sound pretty obvious to most of you guys, right? And so will this first point. Marketing is number one. I truly believe this is the most important thing in any business. Okay. When you know how to do a transaction, where will your leads come from? And it doesn't have to be through digital, right? If you were to get referrals, for example, well, that's what we call network marketing. But it was because that you put yourself out there in front of that person is why you got another opportunity through that person, right? So this should be given the biggest priority in any business, not just real estate also. Again, pretty straightforward, no really questions there. But here's where it gets a little tricky. And this is where people always tend to fall or fail in their marketing. These four objections they don't tend to really adhere to. Objection number one, it's not 20% of my budget. Now, the reason why I put that out there is because of two things. Number one, the industry. And number two, the fact that there is a lot of competition out there. Okay. Now I'm in New York. We got a lot of competition here. We got like, I think it's like 50,000 agents. Now I know we don't have that number over there where you guys are, but there is still a handful of realtors to choose from. And you have to realize from a consumer standpoint, when you look at it as if I was a home buyer or home seller, and if I see that Agent X is doing all sorts of marketing, mailers, social media, their email marketing, estimates, they're doing all these different things to me. And then I see Agent Y who's just on Instagram, naturally, probably who's going to be more top of mind is Agent X to me. Okay. So, of course, I'm not here to step on any toes. At the end of the day, you guys, it's your brand. It's not my brand, but I will tell you if you guys are doing less marketing out there, you are potentially giving your competitor a complete advantage because they'll be able to do more and they know they could do more because they know that's what they have to do to win. Okay. Point number two, it's not results in 1 month, and it goes back to the same reason as to why I said in the first place. Number one, every year more and more agents are joining. But number two, it's the industry. This is real estate. This is not like some clothing brand where I could wake up tomorrow as a buyer and I could be like, oh, I want to buy like 5 pairs of shirts, $1,000, no big deal. This is not an industry like that. This is a completely different industry where I can't just wake up, or at least most people can't, and say, I want to buy 5 houses, let's do it, right? This is real estate. This is thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some cases, millions. And if you expect people to make choices that fast, I think as realtors, they do forget how fast or how slow it takes for a human mind to take big choices in their life. They really take their time. And what pressures them in taking more time is realizing that, oh, it's not just one agent on the island. There's many agents I could choose from, right? So there's a lot of comparison that they would have to do. And that naturally does take a lot of time in and of itself. Okay. Point number three, marketing is everywhere around us. I truly believe that every choice that we made in our life is because of some sort of marketing or branding from another company. I'll give you some examples. For example, if you want to wear clothing line, a specific luxury clothing line, right? Why do you wear that? Because you know there's the status it can give you, right? But how do you know it portrays that status? Because the company branded it to you for them to feel like that, right? That's one. For example, restaurants. You might be going to the restaurant where everyone's talking about how you should go there. That's because of network marketing, right? Or if you want to buy an exotic car, right? Most people want to buy a supercar because they know the status or the opportunities it can give them when they drive that car. How do they know that? Because of the branding that company put on them. So I truly believe every choice that we made is some sort of indirect reasoning because of marketing and branding. The fourth point, having previous bad experiences in marketing. Now, I don't know if you guys have done it by yourself or you guys have done it with someone else, but a lot of people say that they've had a bad experience. Now, bad experience could be defined by many different ways, but I have seen this common trend where when you have a bad experience, people just tend to give it up entirely. Now, I will tell you that is the last thing you'd want to do. There's a handful of us here today, and I'm sure, and I can promise you, each one of you guys have had some sort of bad experience in your life. Yet here you are with me today morning, wanting to learn how to grow your business, right? Now, if I were to ask any of you guys, why are you here with me today? You're going to tell me your life is important to you, right? You're going to tell me you do this to you want to make a living. So with that being said, as I mentioned earlier, marketing is the most important thing in any business. Even though you've had a bad experience, it is not something you should be stopping because guess what? We're already in 2024. Apple Vision Pros, those technology goggles have came out. AI is moving at some alarming rate. Crypto is going up out of nowhere. Technology is just booming now. And if you guys are deciding to stop your marketing because of one bad experience, I guarantee you in 4 or 5 years, you're going to be looking for something else to do. I guarantee that because everyone else will not think like that. Everyone else will keep pursuing it, keep learning new ideas, new tactics. You're going to be fell behind and nobody can find you online at that point. Okay. These are some of the most common misconceptions that I do hear. I will kind of be addressing a few more as we get into things in detail, but this is the whole end of marketing mindset. Okay. Now that we know how to think about it a little bit, let's talk about branding. There's really only two ways to brand yourself, all right? Either you build a business brand or you build a personal brand. Now, I'm going to give an example of each and tell you guys which one you should be leaning towards. Let's go ahead and talk about a business brand. A business brand, here's an example. If I want to go buy a bottle of wine, okay? What do I care about in my purchase? Well, I actually care about just a few things. I don't care about who made my wine. I just care about the quality of that bottle of wine and how that bottle compares with other bottles of wine. But if I want to go buy or sell a house, it's actually a little bit of the opposite. I don't care about Keller Williams. I don't care about Douglas Elliman. I don't care about locations. I care about the people inside of that company, right? So since real estate is a very one-to-one interaction, we have to put a focus on building what we call a personal brand. Okay. Now, a personal brand consists of many different aspects, which I'll get into, but I want to talk about two people that I'm sure we all know, Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. Now, about 10 months ago, Mark Zuckerberg released a new app called Threads. Okay, and now the goal of Threads was to take Twitter out of the marketplace. The question was he successful in doing that? The answer is debatable, but I will definitely say in the first month he absolutely was. Threads is a platform very similar to Twitter, developed by Zuckerberg, right? And if you look at Threads, in about 5 days, the first 5 days of launching, it got 100 million signups. Now let's go back to Zuckerberg. 6 or 7 years ago, this man was in court facing allegations of privacy concerns, of how Facebook users aren't protected. And guess what? So many people left Facebook. So many people hated him because he's just like the guy that knows all your information, right? But then also 7 years later, he releases this app and 1/10 of a billion people downloaded. So what does that mean? What does that tell us? Well, if you look at Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, massive internet influence, and even though there were people that did not like him, they still decided to download that app. Why? Because people have the fear of missing out and people have the fear of not being a part of a trend. So what I'm trying to tell you guys when it comes to real estate is you don't just want to market yourself as an agent. You want to market yourself as a real estate influencer, as a neighborhood influencer, because I know what you guys are wishing for. I know it. You guys want leads to come to you. That's what we all want, right? But you do all these efforts of cold calling, door knocking, networking. It's just a bunch of effort that you're doing. And when you don't have leads coming to you, you're in disadvantage. Why? Because you don't have control over the sales process. But when you have leads that come to you and approach you directly, guess what? They're already sold on the idea. It's just a matter of what you can get for them, right? So I absolutely recommend the way we're going to get there is by building a personal brand digitally so we can reach more people in less time. Okay. Okay, we take concepts of marketing mindset and branding. Now we kind of elaborate this onto what we call the next pillar, which is called content marketing. Now, before I define what that word is, I want to talk about a question in business that you guys have probably get that I get all the time. What makes you different? Now, I'll leave my own opinion on this question. You guys can be free to disagree with me here, but I think it's important that I do convey my answer here. That question, what makes you different, I think is complete nonsense at this point because I've seen agents kind of compare themselves to other agents by saying things like, I'm different because I know the market better, because I'm always passionate about the industry, I'm always with my client. And I'm like, you know what? Guess what? With all the thousands of agents that I know, I've all heard the same thing from them. It doesn't make anyone different. So I think instead of saying things like that, I think what's a better answer is the following. I excel at the following three qualities. Quality number one, yes, my network is important. Who I know is important, but I think what's more important is who knows me and who knows what I do. That's number one. Do more people know what I do and know me? Number two is your experience. Do you simply have a good portfolio you could show people, right? A good number of transactions, right? A good number of track record that you can visually show people or show them in an ebook, for example. And quality number three is your personality. If you go to a potential client and you're so energetic, you're so confident, and you're showing a lot of vibrancy towards them, right? That might just be enough for them to say, hey, look, I want to work with you, right? So if you can say you excel at those three qualities rather than just saying I'm hardworking and I know the market better, I think you have a much better selling point there than saying those commonly answered questions that people say, right? So, because I see this all the time when people post on social media, what makes me different? They say these common things that everyone says. I'm like, why did you even do that post? That's completely unnecessary. Okay, so that's just my own opinion on that. Feel free to disagree with me on that, but I do think I have a very valid point when it comes to that question. Now, with that being said, let's go back to content marketing. What is that? Well, that's the process of defining your ideal client. Now, your ideal client is not someone saying in the sense like my ideal client is between 20 and 60 and he or she is a buyer or seller. We want to go a little bit more specific, a little bit more narrow. My ideal client is probably between 40 and 55. He or she is making an income of X, right? And you want to find out the A through Z of that person. What type of personality do they have? Are they typically introverted? Are they typically extroverted, right? What type of hobbies or interests do you commonly see among your clients, right? Then you want to ask them the other type of question, which is, what are some of the problems that they might have when it comes to real estate? Or what are some of the needs that they might have when it comes to real estate, or the obstacles or the dreams or desires when it comes to real estate? Once you kind of understand those problems and those needs and the fears that they have, ask yourself, okay, how do I as an agent come and solve those problems for those people? Again, this is something that a lot of realtors don't talk about. I know another thing you guys want. Yes, you want leads coming to you, but you want qualified leads coming to you. But guess what? Qualification is determined by two things. Number one, your marketing, but number two, your sales process, which I'll talk about at the very end of this. Okay. But it's very important that we know this factor because a lot of agents, all they do is they post generic content. What are the 3 steps to buy a house? What are tips for pet owners? What are FHA loans? What are loans? What are mortgages, right? They post all this generic content. And to me, when I see that, I'm gonna think you're a realtor in the United States and not of an agent in the island. And I want you guys to be known as an agent in the island or wherever you're servicing, not just of the United States, because you don't have the licenses everywhere, right? And then also it doesn't motivate me to learn anything about you. If I just see what are FHA loans on your page, guess what? I'm not learning anything about you because at the end of the day, I'm not talking to a loan. I'm talking to you, right? So I'll have to know a little bit more about you as a person. And when I get to know that you're a problem solver for these type of people, it gives me alignment of whether I should listen to you because I have that problem or whether I shouldn't because I don't have that problem. So in that process, yes, you might lose followers. Yes, you might get some less traction, but guess what? You're actually filtering out your audience, which is what we all need to do so we can get a better audience watching our content. Okay, that's pillar one. Pillar two is focusing on your target area. You guys are in real estate. I should be coming to you asking where's the best places to eat? What's happening here in this community? What are the events that are going on? You guys should know the area very well. I'm very much against selling that old salesy method where people are just like, hey, I'm a realtor. If you want to buy or sell a house, contact me. I'm very much against that. I'd rather have you just show off your knowledge and just have people come and ask you questions because that's how you're going to get control over the sales process. Okay, you can showcase things about your community via stories, posts, static posts, videos, all of that is okay, but a lot of the times realtors don't even do that. And it's a great point for you guys to start incorporating that so you can stand out differently in a world that's already hard to stand out in. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to kind of take that knowledge and put it on social media and talk about a couple of different platforms here. Now, another commonly asked question, Andrew, what are some of the platforms that every agent should be on, whether you're a top producer or you're an agent that just got started in the game? Well, what we've seen is with data, we've seen platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Google Business Page, and a personal website be like the 5 assets that you should be having. Platforms like LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter are very selective based on where you are, right? And they're also very selective based on where you are in terms of your position in the real estate space. But I'll kind of break it down. I want to talk about Instagram and Facebook first. Okay. Let's start by talking about how these two platforms are nothing alike. Okay. Yes, I know you can connect them together. Yes, I know you could post and it will go on that Facebook platform as well. But that doesn't mean they behave the same way. Instagram is what we call a very organic platform, and Facebook is what we call a very inorganic platform. What is organic? What is inorganic? I'll define it right now. It's simply differentiated by what we call a guarantee. If I were to take a picture right now and post that without even paying $1 to the platform, I'm basically playing a guess game. I don't know how many likes I'll get. I don't know how many comments I'll get. And I really don't know if I'll get any traction. I don't know how many people I could get to. But if I were to do that exact same post and promote that post with like $100 spent, for example, Now all of a sudden Instagram and Facebook is telling me, hey, Andrew, you'll be able to reach between 7 to 10,000 people. Okay, I have some sort of guarantee in my head. Okay. So we'd want to incorporate both organic and inorganic strategies when we really want to break through in the marketplace. But before that, I want to get a little technical and I want to talk about hashtags for a second. Okay. Yes, hashtags are still very relevant to the industry and to the marketing of Instagram. Now, there are a couple hashtag rules you want to follow. Before that, let's talk about how many hashtags to use. On Instagram, it should be 29 and less over time. On Facebook, it should be ideally less than 10 over time. Now, within those hashtag rules, there's three tiers we'd want to follow. Go to the next slide here. Tier number one are hashtags that are generic in terms of the industry or the place. Hashtag real estate agents, hashtag real estate, hashtag realtor. When you search these type of hashtags on Instagram search bar, on a Facebook search bar, you'll notice that more than 1 million people have used it. Now, I want you to use generic hashtags, and the way you're going to classify them as generic is actually by seeing if more than 1 million people have used those hashtags. Okay. Now, after using those hashtags, I'd recommend like 3 to 8 of those. After using that tiered hashtag, I want to use what we call a little bit more location-based hashtags. Okay. A location-based hashtag is literally just like what it sounds like. I'm in New York. I just did an example hashtag NYC Realtor. Okay. When I searched this hashtag, I noticed that, okay, 12,000 people have used that. 119,000 people have used that. And guess what? When I see that, it's going to tell me that, okay, less than 1 million, more than 1,000 people have used it. So I want to stick under that range, basically 4 to 6 digits. So we want to use around three to eight of those. For example, this could be in your guys' area. It could be things like hashtag Hawaii homes, hashtag Hawaii real estate, hashtag Honolulu real estate, right? You'll have to kind of see which hashtags fall under those metrics, but that'd be tier number two, between 4 to 6 digits. Okay. Tier number three is actually more hyper personal hashtags. Hyper personal hashtags primarily in the sense where you're using hashtags that nobody really talks about, okay? Or nobody really uses. So I'm not a realtor yet. I don't know if I'll ever become one, but if I would ever become one, I'd probably find a hashtag better than Andrew Realtor. But I'm just doing an example here. And if I search that hashtag, I find that no one's really talking about that. No one's really using it. So you want to use maybe one or two of these because just like how companies have taglines, this is just another way where a person can see you. If your clients are closing house, if your clients bought a house from you and they want to post it on social media, why don't you tell them, hey, use the hashtag Andrew does real estate, right? So now you could have their people find you in a different way. So we do that for more of a brand building purpose, right? But none of this matters if you don't do what I tell you next, which is tracking. Google Sheets, Excel, I know those tools sound a little annoying, but I'm telling you, they're very helpful when it comes to this because what you'd want to do is you'd want to track the type of hashtags you use. Let's just say you do 15 posts a month and you decide to track your analytics. Right now, to those of you that might have the question, should you have two accounts or one account? The answer is only one account because, again, we're building what we call a personal brand and we're talking about your life. And guess what? In your life, you have a business also. So you're talking about your business, okay? Within that personal account, you can convert that into a professional account. Now, with that professional account, you get to see data points, insights, okay? How many people did you reach? How many likes, followers, non-followers did it reach to? You get all these data points that talk about the performance of your post. Now, if you did 15 posts, for example, and six of those posts did higher views than all the other ones, you'd want to use the hashtags for those six and use them for the next month, while at the same time you continuously come up with newer and newer hashtags. So you guys can see this is a constant process of filtering. Okay. Eventually, you're going to tell yourself, okay, I've used hundreds or thousands of hashtags, and I got to the point where I realized these 50 work the best. So I'm just going to use between maybe 5 or 7 each post. So that's why I started off by saying 29 and less over time. And then you'd build it out to lesser and lesser numbers because you know what's working and what's not. Okay. This hashtag strategy primarily applies on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll go to some other platforms as well. Okay. Which we'll cover later. Engaging. Now, this is another point. What is the purpose of doing social? Well, the purpose of doing social is not lead generation right away. I want all of you guys to think who it's lead generation right away. I want you guys to take that out of your mindset for now. We don't talk about lead generation in social media for about 3 to 4 months. And the reason I say that goes back to those two other points, competitors joining every single year and the industry that it's in. And if you're going to be direct with people who don't even know who you are, you're going to look very salesy. And guess what? That's the old way of selling, and nobody likes that. The four things you should ask yourself on this section called engagements. Number one, do I know who you are? Number two, do I know what you do for a living? Number three is divided into two parts. Part A being, do I get to see your local expertise in the community? And part B being, do I get to see the educational content, right? Like the tips, the problem solving, how do you help people, certain clients, right? Do I get to see that? And part number four is how often do I see it? Because sometimes people think posting 25, 30 times a month is too much. And guess what? It's only too much if your content is not improving over time. But you can mark my word on this, there is no such thing as being too much out there on social media because what it would take to build a legacy is being out there more than 8 times a month. Okay. If you look at Apple, Facebook, Google, whenever you guys have questions about marketing, I want you guys to reflect on the biggest companies out there right now. Facebook, Apple, those guys are in front of our face hundreds of times a day or hundreds of thousands of times a week. And do we ever complain that they're too top of mind to us? No, we just remember their industry a little bit easier, right? We always use them. We always use their products. Now, if you have a family or friend telling you you're too much out there, okay, my response to them is the following. They probably don't understand business and the essence it would take or the work it would take to really build a legacy out there. Okay, so for those of you guys that are probably hesitant on posting too much, remind yourself that I'm here to build a legacy. I'm here to build something that people will always remember, and they will not remember it if I only do this 7 or 8 times a month, right? It's too less because your competitors are doing it more. Okay, so I just wanted to break that objection as well. Third point, Reels. Reels are short form videos, 15 to 45 seconds. Now, for those of you that have kids, I'm going to tell you a good fact here. When Reels first came out, the preferred watch time was 13 seconds. Very short attention span. Nobody could concentrate on anything. But guess what? Now the preferred watch time is actually 44 seconds. So for those of you that have kids, the attention span is finally increasing. We should all be happy about that because we're finally getting more focused. Now, within these short form videos, when you post them, there's a library of trending music, trending filters. Now the question is, do you use that? Well, it's completely dependent on if you're that type of person. You're not obligated to use any of those tools if you don't want to, but if you're the type of person that's very colorful, energetic, humoristic, and you like kind of bond with what you see there, I completely recommend you to use those tools because if you use tools that are supported by the algorithm, they will support you back in terms of growth. But if you're the type of person like me that's very straightforward to the point, that does a smile here and there, okay, I probably won't use it on my face. I probably won't be dancing all over the screen because that's not me. And the last thing you guys want to do is fake someone you're not on social because you might have to meet these people at some point in real life. Okay. The next point, personal aspects. Now, we talk about personal brand building, right? And this is a very key component to it. Talking about who you are. The only question you guys should ask yourself here is what are some of the things about my life that I would love to tell my audience about? This could be anything from family to going out to vacations, pictures of yourself, entertainment preferences, anything but real estate related. Okay. We analyze as a company a couple thousand accounts a year, and I find the same trend here. And that's the trend is whenever an agent posts a picture of them closing a property and then they post a picture of them going out on a Friday night event, right? That Friday night post is almost always getting more likes, more comments, more engagements compared to that closing post. And I'll give you guys a hard truth here. Don't take it personally. Nobody cares you close the house. And that's the hard truth, okay? But we still have to showcase it. Why? Because we're building a personal brand, and within your brand, you have a business as well. Okay. Facebook groups. Now, Facebook groups, I personally don't like using Facebook. I'm sure a lot of you guys will agree with that. It's very unuser friendly. But there is one tool you should not be ignoring on there, and that's called groups. So I just put an example here. I know the population is different here as well, but I wanted to just show you guys what these groups could look like and some of the numbers that you could potentially find among these groups. Now, groups and networking events are the same thing. It's just on a phone. Okay, so what I don't want you guys to be doing, because I used to go to a lot of networking events until I realized what some of the problems with these events were. And that's people being so direct and so salesy with people, and nobody likes that. So what I don't want you guys to be doing when you join these groups is actually just telling, hey guys, I'm a realtor. If you want to buy or sell a house, contact me. Because truthfully, nobody won't because they don't know you enough. So instead of, talking about that all the time and being selfish and just talking about yourself, I want you to repost some of the content you're putting on social media, like the local content, some of the videos you put out there on your YouTube channel, for example. And also at the same time, you have to put attention on other people, ask them questions, engage with their posts, right? Like their posts, talk about their postings because Again, the last thing you want to do is over promote yourself, and guess what? You're banned from those groups and nobody likes you. And this is your ideal place to be seen as a local expert in these local groups, because Facebook groups are very local to an area, right? And you guys want to be known in an area. And this is a great way to do it digitally. Don't pick 10 to 12 groups, pick like 3 to 6 and stay consistent with those 3 to 6. Otherwise, you guys won't have the time to even do more. Okay. Okay. Organic traffic I already covered, so I'm just gonna skip over that. Ads and targeting. Now, the whole idea of ads and targeting, there's only two types of ads we should really consider. One is a property ad, and the second one is actually an ad to potentially get more leads. Property ad, I don't mind running whenever you need to, but the lead ad is what I want to focus on. You actually have to build a foundation first. And what is a foundation again? Do I get to know who you are? Do I get to know what you do? Do I get to see your local expertise? And do I get to see that often? If I don't see that yet, you have no purpose or no intention of running an ad, especially if you want to try to get leads from it. Why? Because I guarantee you, someone likes your ad, they click on your profile, and guess what? There's nothing for them to see, and they don't care. They'll just go to another agent. And guess what? Nobody's going to tell you that happened, that you lost an opportunity because your marketing just wasn't good. So to limit those type of chances, I really want to focus on building a foundation first before we jump onto any sort of like lead ads or stuff, because ads, decently high investment, couple hundred, couple $1,000s, and you're just going to burn money if you're just not going to really focus on building a foundation first. Okay. The last 2 points I want to talk about, which I think is the most missed points, which is why I love talking about it, is competitors and engaging with other people. That quote, never compare yourself to others. I like that quote. I have nothing against the quote, except we are not using that when it comes to marketing and building our brand. We have to look at other people's pages and what their content looks like, because if some of your guys' competitors are posting videos or statics that's getting a lot of great hits, that should entirely incentivize you to do the same thing as well. The whole concept of stealing ideas from your competition, 100% support that. Your goal should be to take an idea that someone else has done on marketing and just market it faster and break their momentum. I want your guys' intention like that. Okay. It's really hard to invent something new nowadays. Reinvent it, market it faster, be known for that before they are known for that. Okay. At the same time, your competitors are not probably doing things that you could be doing. So if you start doing them and they're not doing it, guess what? You're now standing out a little bit differently in that field as well. Okay. Engaging with other people. This is commenting on other accounts. Now, everyone thinks social marketing is just posting analytics and data and graphic design and all that, but they're forgetting one very key ingredient, which is commenting on other accounts. You have to comment on other accounts, but who do you comment on? There's two groups. When you search hashtags, you want to comment on consumers in the area. Hashtag Honolulu, hashtag Kailua Kona. I hope I said that right, right? Some of the islands or some of the areas you're servicing, you want to comment. Now, you guys don't have to do like for example, you guys don't have to do like the 10-word or 20-word comment. You can even do like 1 or 2, 3-word comments. I like volume in that case, and I just want you to spread among your comments among a bunch of different consumers in your area. Because again, those are consumers. You never know if they might notice your comment, they click on it, and guess what? They give you a follow or they give you a message because they were thinking about real estate too. Okay, so you don't want to neglect that opportunity. Audience number two, who should you be commenting on? It's kind of funny when I say it, but it's actually other real estate agents. Because as I'm teaching you guys on marketing, there are other realtors in the area that are looking to really build out their audience as well. And if you can get in front of their audience, you are ethically stealing attention away from your competitor and you're having them check you guys out. So how do you do that? Well, you comment on their pages, right? So I'd recommend keeping a Google Sheets, maybe finding 20, 30 accounts that you can engage with, and then consistently start commenting whenever they start posting. Okay. This could be 1-word comments, asking them questions, responding to their audience's comments, but you'd want to stay consistent. This is not like a one and done commenting and I'm out of it. No, you want to consistently stay on them because their audience might not see your comment in the first time or the second time. So you consistently want to comment on some profiles as well. Okay. This whole idea of commenting doesn't just apply to Instagram or Facebook. It applies to LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all other platforms. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Let's talk about LinkedIn now. LinkedIn is a very interesting platform as it's actually going big and big. I do see some newer opportunities with LinkedIn. Basically, this is primarily for those that have a couple different intentions. Intention number one is to build a team. Okay. Intention number two is if you're a broker, your goal is also to recruit agents. And intention number three is if you're a new agent and you want to build your online network, this is a platform to do that at. Okay. Now, LinkedIn is entirely a numbers game. I will trust someone that has more connections compared to someone that has less connections. Now, how do you grow your connections? You grow your connections by actually connecting with individuals. But who do you connect with is the question. You'd want to connect with everyone that's involved in a real estate transaction. So, for example, attorneys, contractors, inspectors, mortgage people, mortgage people, insurance people, title. It could be a bunch of different fields in that end, but ideally you'd want to connect with individuals that are all involved in a transaction because number one, you never know who they might know. And also number two, if you potentially happen to create a good relationship with those people, you guys might be passing each other leads in the future, right? And that was that because of LinkedIn? Indirectly, yes. Now, when you send out these connection notes, there is a connection note, right? You can send out. And what do you say in the note? I've seen this common mistaken trend, which is like in 2022, I think it was the end of 2022, everyone becomes so hyper personalized that they don't get to the point. Okay. They talk about your achievements and congratulate you for that, but they don't get to the point. So, what I recommend is if you're going to do that, talk about an achievement, but then just get straight to the point because LinkedIn is a platform where you could be direct with people. It is a business platform after all. Okay. Now, ideally, I like the introduction of saying things like, hey, this is Andrew. I work at this company. And for example, I want to see if I want to connect with you to see if there could be an opportunity to grow together. Okay. Now, if they say yes, you can get a meeting together and now you can keep them in your pipeline. But if they say no, you can actually send another follow-up note. And this is why I would like to say LinkedIn is a platform to get more video content. Now, you guys might be like, how's that even possible? You can ask them, hey, would you be open to a 15-minute Zoom podcast on a particular topic on real estate? If you do this with enough people and they say yes, you could probably get on like 10 or 12 different podcast episodes on your own Zoom, but within the comfort of your home. And now you can take those 15-minute videos, post them on YouTube, use their short form clips, and guess what? You're now seen as a thought leader much faster. So LinkedIn is a great platform to do that. It's a new strategy that we came up with actually, and I think it has a lot of power behind it because for those of you guys that have trouble getting video content, guess what? You have someone that's accountable for you as well, not just me. Okay, I'm not going to be the one that's going to be constantly reminding you, but you have someone else that will also help you and kind of get that effort together so you guys could get videos out. Okay. We'll concept on LinkedIn groups, just like Facebook groups. It's a great place for your brokers and for your team leaders to go in there and talk about company culture. Not all the time, but again, you can drop some stuff about your company, what you guys are doing at the offices, celebrations, things like that. But you also want to engage with other people on that platform as well. All right. Engaging, commenting, just like I mentioned on Instagram, Facebook is just as important as we do it on LinkedIn, as we do on for all the other platforms as well. Okay. YouTube. Now, YouTube is a platform, it's very interesting, but I want you to know with full seriousness, this is the most important platform out of all the ones I'm talking about. Why? Because it's owned by Google. And if you guys can break through on YouTube, you will get the search ranking benefits that Google will provide you. Now, when should you consider it? So, for any of you guys that are not on YouTube right now, I know the only answer as to why you're not because of time. You don't have the time to do it. So, when should you consider when you have the time to do it? Now, YouTube's bread and butter is long form video content, right? Videos that are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes long. And the thing with YouTube is, yes, some of you guys are probably thinking, oh, what about YouTube Shorts? Well, YouTube Shorts is still an avenue, but it's not the avenue to grow on YouTube. Whenever a platform releases a new feature, they're going to promote the hell out of it because they want everyone to get on it. But at the end of the day, the way the platforms were built goes back to their original principle. And YouTube's original principle is long form content. Okay. So some basic content ideas for you guys to just think upon and build on could be things like property walkthroughs, neighborhood events, community walkthroughs, interviews with other business owners, podcasts. These are just some examples of long form content. And you notice that there is a lesser audience on YouTube. And what I mean by audience, I mean realtors, not consumers. There's plenty of consumers that consume YouTube content. And this could be a place where someone else can get an additional resource about you. Okay. And you can stand out a little bit differently. YouTube's growth is entirely based on a couple of things: your titles, your descriptions, and initially your thumbnails as well. So I'll show you an example here. This is a mortgage lady based in Virginia. So just to give you some numbers, she's got 3,000 videos. Okay. Now keep in mind, there's 365 days in a year. So now I let you guys do the math of thinking how long it took for her to build this page. So the intention should be a very long-term mindset you should have when it comes to YouTube. It is a lot harder to go on this platform compared than it is to grow on Instagram or Facebook. Okay. Now, if you look at her page, there's a couple of things to notice. Number one, her thumbnails are very attractive, right? Very well branded. She's showing emotion on her thumbnails. And at the same time, her words and wording are so big that even if I try ignoring it, I can't see it. I can definitely still see it. Okay. Now, the thing with YouTube is with her videos, especially, is if you notice some of the videos, there's no thumbnails on them. And guys, this is why I tell you it's important that you have that foundation because guess what? 3,000 videos later, her audience doesn't care about the thumbnail per se. They just care about what she has to say. And guess what? One of those videos, 22,000 views. That's massive. That video definitely did much better than her other ones, but she didn't even have a thumbnail in that because it's all about that foundation. She's already established the trust and the credibility. So her audience just wants to hear whatever she has to say. So that doesn't mean don't slack on your marketing once you have a foundation. But if you happen to miss one of them here and there, it's not the end of the world either, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Now, if you look at another thing, her subject and her titles, and if you click on those videos, she has great descriptions. You'd want to match those titles and descriptions as it relates to what people are typing relatively in that week or in that month. So you can use a tool, it's called vidIQ, VIDIQ, and basically they will tell you the keywords that are of high competition, low competition, and medium competition. You can kind of frame those type of titles and descriptions onto your YouTube videos so you can have a higher chance of ranking it over time. Now, YouTube is another place to get ideas. Her name is Jennifer Beeston. It's right there. The first video, you can see the hashtag right there. You guys should all jot this account down because she's got 3,000 different content ideas that maybe you guys can put your own spin to. So now I could call YouTube a content library idea as well because you can take a lot of those long form videos, break them up into series and parts, and now all of a sudden you have what you call an infinite content glitch, which does really exist also. Okay. So that's just an example on YouTube. Very good platform. You should also be commenting on your competitors on YouTube because those audiences might see it, might click on your profile, and they might subscribe to you as well. Okay. Okay. Twitter. Now, Twitter is an interesting platform. We kind of put this on the back burner, to be honest with you. Why? Because Elon Musk is constantly making changes with this. And I'm kind of waiting for him to kind of settle down and kind of like cool down a little bit to kind of see what all is he doing differently. But I will give you some previous information that we collected with Twitter. Twitter is a platform of leadership. Okay. If you're on there, you're an authority in some way. So who is this for? Well, this is for your top producers. This is for your agents that actually are leaders in the space, so like brokers, team leaders, right? And even for the companies itself, company portrays leader qualities of leadership. But this is not for your new agent because your new agents are not leaders yet. They could be, but they're not yet there, not there yet. Now, the thing with Twitter is I like to call it the informal LinkedIn, and it's entirely based on where you live. I'm in New York. There's plenty of Twitter users around this area. In Hawaii, from what I've seen and what I've heard from other brokerages, there's not that many users down there. Okay. So this might not be a platform for you guys to even consider because it's also very much based on who's using it, how many people are using this platform. Okay. But just know that Twitter is what I like to call like the informal LinkedIn. And you can reach people that are primarily in the B2B space, business to business, and B2C, business to consumer, restaurants. It could be things like software companies, right? There's a bunch of different sort of audience groups you can reach here. And your primary goal should not be lead generation here. It's just building a community through LinkedIn, through Twitter. Sorry. Twitter's intention was for you to communicate with other people. It was not for posting. Instagram, on the other hand, was actually for you to post. But Twitter is very different. Twitter, they want you to actually comment first. So I like that. I like that intention that they give you. And the thing with Twitter is you want to show the informal side of your brand. So I know you guys probably after office, you guys have these like after work talks, right? And you're probably complaining about some client or how you're having such a hard time with this at the office, right? You're all spinning Twitter content. So you guys can kind of incorporate things like real estate memes, real estate jokes, some like not mean humor, but like you can kind of attack a pain point of someone, right? And people like that content on there. Okay. But we're currently putting this in the back burner for now because we're looking to see what Elon does differently. So I can kind of give you guys some more better conclusions as the platform changes. And by the way, I refuse to call this X because I just think that's just a bad name for it. Okay. So I'm still keeping it Twitter. That's why I left it as Twitter on the slide. Okay. TikTok is a platform for the younger generation, but I'm honestly going to get rid of that point eventually because I've seen people in their, and I'm not trying to offend anyone or anything, I'm just trying to look at it from a demographical standpoint. I've seen people in their 30s and 40s use this platform just as much as people in their 18s and 19s. Okay. Now, there are two opportunities here for you. Opportunity number one, you're planting future seeds for future growth. Opportunity number two, you're actually potentially getting a referral generator option. So, for example, for someone in a demographic like mine, I'm 21, I'm between that demographic where, listen, college is important, but at the same time, for me, I mean, I want to grow big, right? Maybe I'm thinking about real estate soon. Maybe I'm not, right? But I'm in that phase where I could be thinking about those kind of things. So for you guys as agents, you guys can actually plant seeds on me, right? You guys can kind of tell me like, hey, why is real estate so important in Hawaii? Why is it important in the cities that you guys are servicing? And if I grow up watching you and I become a little bit older, maybe down the road I might want to just work with you because guess what? All I've seen was growing up was you as in real estate, right? So you're planting seeds for future growth opportunities. Opportunity number two is actually connected to opportunity number one, where if I can't make a real estate move, I might tell my dad, like, oh, hey, dad, check out this agent. I know we're planning to buy or sell soon. Check out this agent that I found on TikTok. Now, here's where it gets a little complicated. Dad is probably not going to know how to use TikTok, or you're probably not going to search on TikTok. Dad's going to go Google your name. And if dad can't find you, dad doesn't care. Dad will go to his friend and be like, hey, who did you buy your house with? And dad will take that realtor's business. The thing is, nobody will tell you that happened to you. Nobody will tell you that you just lost an opportunity because your marketing was bad, right? So I want you guys to know that TikTok is a great platform, but I want you to call this what we call the accountability platform. Okay, this is the platform where if you are not on other platforms as a bonus or as a supporting material for your other audiences to see, you probably have you guys have probably already lost some opportunities like that. So I want to make sure that you are strong on Instagram, you're strong on Facebook, you got a great website, even while you're doing TikTok, because yes, it is a very organic platform. I tend to find that you could rack up views on this platform faster. So that means you can take your audience and bring them somewhere else, your website, your Instagram, right? So your older audience can see more about you on there as well. Trending content ideas, trending hashtags, this type of platform kind of tells you what those new trending contents could be, right? And again, if you're that type of person that's very colorful, energetic, humoristic, confident, that might work for you. It doesn't have to work for everyone. It's okay if it doesn't, but it could give you some more incentive ideas on how to grow even faster. Okay. Oh, one more thing. I know this thing is about to be banned in America based on what I'm hearing. So just in case if until that time of it being banned, try to be on there as much as possible so you can kind of migrate your audience to some other platform eventually. Okay. Now, real quick on video marketing, this is very important to kind of convey because video marketing is not just talking on a camera. There is a real framework when it comes to video marketing. Now, the thing with video marketing is there's two parts to its success. Success number one is actually talking about hooks. Whatever you said in the beginning of the video could determine why someone watches it all the way to the end. So hooks could appeal things like an emotion, a situation, an ideal emotion or situation, or even questioning something that people might even believe. Okay, so I just put some hooks as an example up there. You guys can use AI as an as a guide to kind of assist you with that. But these are just some examples of some hooks that you guys can potentially use in your marketing. Now, another key concept of video marketing is your editing. Are you using captions? Are you using the latest transitions or hashtags? I mean, sorry, are you using the latest click sounds, latest transitions? Because everyone nowadays loves the constant stimulus that's happening. And if you're just keeping your audience bored by just not showing anything, it's just a video of you talking, that might make them be bored and that might make them not watch you, right? One of the metrics I do love looking at when it comes to video marketing is yes, likes, comments, shares are important, but I think watch time is something that I should be giving more priority to. Why? Because if I have someone watching my video for 45 seconds compared to someone watching my video for 10 seconds and giving it a like, I would rather care about that person that watched the entire video because I know I did something right. I know the content resonated with him. So I need to create more content like that. Okay. So that is one of the biggest metrics people tend to forget when it comes to videos. Videos is all about duration, right? So if you have someone sticking to your video, you're doing something right. And I'll tell you right now, a watch time of 5 or 6 seconds in the beginning is very good. I know it sounds so less, but it's a very good start. And eventually you'd want to increase that watch time over time as well. Okay. Now, I know I have a couple of different topics. I'm just looking at the topics that I was going to talk about today. So things like Google Business Page. I know Crystal's going to send you guys a recording of this class, but I will also email her a video of one of my other classes that I shared where I kind of covered these aspects. I just want to talk about the things that I did mention because I know we're also a little bit constrained on time as well. So this concept will be on the video that I will share with you guys also. So no worries about that. I just want to talk about a couple of other things as well. Boosting posts, I'm going to give you a live demonstration of how this works. Boosting posts is very vital. Even though I like to say we run ads after 6 to 15 weeks, you'd want to also boost your posts every single month because as you're marketing, you should constantly be reaching out to new and newer people. So here's an example, just a live walkthrough. Right? If I were to click boost post, I could visit profile, visit my website, message me. The first choice all of you guys should be doing, especially if you're starting out, is visit your profile because again, you want people to know you. Okay. Go to click on that, and then now you're designated to a whole new window, a whole new library, right? Within this, you have options between locations, interests, age, and gender. I'll tell you right now, do not touch age and gender because Instagram and Facebook will suspend your ad account. And those are all problems that we know what's going to happen. It's a whole headache you don't want to deal with, okay? When it comes to locations and interests, these are the two areas you should focus on. Now, Instagram and Facebook, they have a pretty good map of all the types of locations you could promote to. So I'm not too worried about you guys not finding the right city or the right community to look at. I am more wanting you to look at the interest and exactly what types of filters should you choose for your particular post. And you can actually filter it per certain things. People that are interested in X content. Content number one could be real estate. It could be apartment, home, investing, first-time buyer, appraisal, economics. There's all these different filters you guys can choose from. And what I don't want you to do is picking like 8 of them on a post because when you do that, you're narrowing your audience size and now you might not get the result you're wanting to, which is a lot of views or a lot of exposure. So instead of that, I'd rather have you guys focus on picking 1 to 5 different filters and over time figuring out, just like the hashtags, which boosting filter would work the best. And you would kind of promote that and put more spend on that information as well. But the whole concept of boosting posts would be Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Those are the platforms you could do it. And the concept and the purpose of doing it is to constantly reach a warmer audience. So when we start running ads, these people have already seen who you are. So we have a higher chance of hitting a qualified lead approach. Okay. So in that video, I'll kind of break that down a little bit more for you guys as well. CRMs, any of you guys that use CRMs, I will also talk about this in the video, but I want to just mention one big point here. Any of you guys that use CRMs, I just want you to know that if there is an option called cross-posting on your CRM, where you're allowed to post on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook all at the same time, you have to run away from that as fast as you can. Because if your intention is to grow on the platform, just like sports, I'm a volleyball player. I'm only going to get better at volleyball if I stay on the court, right? If I'm out of the court, I'm not getting better at volleyball. So if you want to grow on your platform, you got to stay in the platform. You got to engage with people. You got to change hashtags. You got to change captions. You got to boost. Cross-posting is some third-party integration, and if you are not even a tenth of a second on your platform when you're relying on that, so how could you expect to even grow? It doesn't make any sense, right? So for those of you guys that have the intention of growing, please stay away from marketing automation, social media postings, because it is not there to help your account grow. It is just there for the sake of the fact that you have to post nowadays, which is not the intention you guys should even be having as well. Okay. So just to put a couple of CRMs out there as an example, I know KV Core is very popular among agents. I use something called SalesMate, but most of these CRMs have an option like that that you should be ignoring entirely. Okay. I'll talk about this in my class as well, the other marketing opportunities that are out there. I just want to kind of convey AI and automation. So I'm just going to the next slide here and I want to talk about these few aspects for you guys. Now, AI is something that's new. It's in testing. There's about 5,000 AI tools at this point, and I've kind of looked through a handful of them and found that these 5 are very relevant to where you guys are at in the industry. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard of the first one, ChatGPT, right? Where do we use this? Well, you want to use AI for your ideas. You don't want to rely on AI because, again, these algorithms get smarter over time and they know when people use AI. Now, when it comes to ChatGPT, there's a few things to look at. Where do you use it for? Well, if you're writing blogs on your website, or if you're wanting a better video hook to start with, you can use this thing to actually give you an idea of what are some potential better hook ideas, or what are some better blog topic ideas, or what are some writing points I could write. But you do not want to be writing blogs with AI. You do not want to be writing hooks with AI because the algorithm does notice that and they will demote you for that. Okay. So rather use ideas that they give you and then write on those ideas natively. Okay. Video.ai is for those of you guys doing long form video content and you want short form clips out of that. You can put that thing in what we call video.ai and we'll give you some short form clips. Now, don't use all the 10 or 12 they give you. Use maybe the top two or three because those are the ones that they believe will perform the best. But also I just want you to note that video.ai is something new. It's also in testing. It has made a few mistakes before as well. So just make sure that the information is correct. There is some management needed even on that platform, but it does save you quite a bit of time on the editing end. Okay. Crisp is for audio amplification. If you're outside and it's a little bit windy, people have a hard time hearing you, you can use Crisp to amplify your audio. But the cool thing is you don't need Crisp if you have the next step, which is called Captions. Captions for talking videos is what the company is called. And Captions has what we call a built-in audio amplifier. And within Captions, I can also select transitions of captions I can choose from, right? So you guys see all those videos on Instagram with the captions. Those are all AI. And you can use captions as a tool to kind of help you speed that process up and do some trimming as well within your videos within AI as well. So it's pretty convenient. Okay. Apollo.io. This is actually for those that want to engage with other people, which should be all of you guys. All right. But Apollo.io gives you a tool where you can search for any industry in any world and get access to emails, LinkedIn profiles, Facebook, Twitter, website, and potentially even revenue. Okay. So if I go on that platform, I can search for realtors in Hawaii. And guess what? I've now downloaded a database of realtors with their email, their Instagram, not their Instagram, their Facebook, their Twitter, their website. And now I can use that data to engage with them on other social media accounts. When I connect with them on LinkedIn, I don't have to waste time figuring out exactly what I have to, search for. I can just use this list, copy the LinkedIn URL, and then just start connecting with them right away. Okay. These are some of the AI tools that I did wanted to convey. They are very important as well. AI, I believe, is not going to overtake marketing. I'd rather think it's just going to make marketing better and just going to complement marketing. So you guys should also look into AI as well. But again, don't think this will make your life 10 times easier. It's there to just save you some time so you could use that time to make even more content for your brand. Okay. I want to talk about one more concept before I wrap this up, which is automations. Now, the whole idea of sales and marketing, sometimes people think sales and marketing is the same thing, but I want to be very clear right now that marketing's only job is to give you a lead. Whatever you do with your lead is a problem that you have, a sales problem. Okay. So you guys should be role playing. You guys should be following up properly. I've been following up with 3 people for the last 3.5 years. I won't name the name of who they are, but I know I could do a deal with them. And I know that my industry is very saturated, so I will capitalize on any opportunity that I get. And I want you guys to have that same mindset as well. Now, the question is, what if you have too many of those leads, right? How do you follow up with them manually? Well, when you have too many leads, you have to look at the negative to that. And the one negative is you don't have the time to get even more leads, or you don't have the time to make even more content. So how do you actually nurture those leads during that time? You have to invest in what you call automation sequences. Okay, so CRMs usually have that built in. Now, within those automations, you'd want to categorize your leads into different categories: cold lead, warm lead, hot lead. We got a couple hundred leads in our business, and the way I do it is the exact way I'm telling you guys. I organize them into different categories. Now, in those different categories, different messages are being sent out to them, different kind of emails are being sent out to them, and it's not just emails or texts saying happy birthday, happy 4th of July. It's nothing like that. It's more of things like, hey, check out this new Instagram post that I did. Check out this event that I sponsored. Check out this class that I taught to people in Hawaii, right? I want to constantly remind them the authority I am to them. But at the same time, it's a way where I can get less involved, right? Because I wake up every day now, might only have to be doing maybe 25 manual follow-ups. And guess what? I have the rest of the day entirely free to get an opportunity to get more leads for my brand. And I want you guys to have that same concept where you rely on technology and you're making it very efficient for yourself so you could put more load with less stress. Okay. For any of you guys that have questions, you can reach out to me on how that automation works. It is a very powerful thing. I truly believe automation in sales is a complete blessing today for business because when you have a large database, it is quite impossible to manage that and to get new opportunities at the same time. So you kind of got to delegate something to something or someone, and something would be a CRM where you can build out automation sequences and have that assist you in your follow-up. Okay. That's pretty much the training. I know I didn't cover through a lot of information. I would love for you guys to follow me on Instagram. I do put out content on there, a little bit more. You get to know a little bit more about me on there as well. But does anyone have any form of questions, comments, concerns, or different opinions? Feel free to address that. I do have some time here, so I'll be happy to, go through that.
We have a few questions, Andrew.
Yeah.
One is what platform for boosting a post? And I believe you kind of ran through it really quickly. I heard Instagram, I heard Facebook. Are there any others?
Okay, so I see. So what platform boosting a post? Three platforms you can boost a post currently is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But again, Twitter is in the back burner, and I actually don't recommend Twitter for the area you guys are in, simply because there's not that many users there, right? So the two platforms you should be focusing on is primarily Instagram and Facebook. Okay.
Okay. An earlier question, I believe you were talking about ads, and
Yes.
I think the person wanted to specifically know what you meant about ads.
Okay.
What
So
kind of
there's
ad
really
are you referring to? Yeah.
Sure, sure. So there's really two types of ads you have to consider. Ad number one is a property ad, right? You're marketing something that's physically tangible. So for example, a property that's having trouble getting attention. Maybe you'd want to run an ad on that sooner than you have a foundation because you're marketing something that people can actually purchase. But if it's an ad where people have an interest of working with you, that ad should be specifically considered only after like 6 to 15 weeks because you want to put a foundation on your account first before you run any form of ad or you have people reaching out to you because you want to make sure if they do reach out to you, they know who you are, they know what you do, they see your local expertise, and they see your educational content. So those are the two types of ads we separate. And the property ads could be ran at any time, but the lead ads I'd prefer running only after we build the foundation.
Okay, wonderful. I also have a question about Copilot. He thinks it's Microsoft. Do you know anything
Yeah.
about
So
Copilot?
Copilot is Microsoft. It is AI. Now, there's a lot of AI tools that help you optimize your flows and also help you optimize your schedule and your productivity. I have not looked much into Copilot, but I do know it is an AI from Microsoft. And at the end of the day, listen, ChatGPT is just one of the 5,000 tools out there. There are so many other ones that are also just better than GPT. I just found that GPT personally is something that everyone can easily learn and understand and use.
Right.
That's why I put that up there. But if Copilot helps you satisfy your needs by giving you ideas on particularly like hook ideas or blog ideas, that works for you, you can definitely use it. There's no problem with using it.
Okay, I have another question. It says, does the time you post matter?
Okay, so this is a very debatable question. The answer is it can go both ways. Now, I'll tell you one thing. The way videos go viral is if I were to do a post right now, right? The algorithm is going to show it to X amount of followers and X amount of non-followers. Now, let's just say it's 60 people, right? Now, if those 60 people decide, let's just say 45 of them decide to watch my entire video or decide to share it with some people or decide to comment, all of a sudden it's going to show it to maybe 200 people now. Then if those 200 people majority react positively, it's going to show it to 2,000, then 200,000, and 2 million, right? So sometimes, in my opinion, the time to post doesn't always matter because your algorithm is going to perform the same way if you post at midnight or if you post in the morning, right? It really just depends on how your audience is reacting. So primarily, we do look at that factor sometime. It just would really depend on the account growth overall is how we actually look at it. But I don't always factor it in though.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, that's all the questions I have, and our time is up. But I wanted to thank you, Andrew, because that was very, very enlightening. Like I
Thank you.
said, we are going to send out the video recording to all of you probably this afternoon. And I also wanted to remind everyone, please take the evaluation. As soon as we close out our session, that link will just pop up and just take a few minutes to evaluate our event. Thanks again, Andrew. We really
Thank you.
appreciate you and your
Thank you
time,
guys for having me.
and
Yes,
we'll
thank you. It
talk
was a
to you
pleasure.
soon.
Thank you
Aloha.
guys. Take care. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.